we're joined by Rohit of ArthAlpha, who was previously working in some banks. He had a hedge fund, he worked in wealth advisory. And so, yeah, Rohit, could you kind of just share about the genesis behind ArthAlpha and yeah, would love to get your take on that as well. Like, how did you actually start this journey?
Sure. First of all, Roohi, thank you very much for having me here. It's a pleasure, and hello to your audience. Uh, Roohi, let me take you back a little bit backwards in time. Start of my career. I have an unusual background. I'm actually a chartered accountant. Usually, the quantitative finance field and AI field is dominated by engineers, and I'm kind of an exception to the norm. Uh, so after becoming a chartered accountant, I spent almost 10 years in fixed income markets, mostly doing foreign exchange, interest rate derivatives, trade derivatives, and a little bit of a distressed debt as well. Spent about 10 years in India across three different banks, ICICI, Citi, and Talion, to the Agricole. Before deciding to take a break, and I went to US to do my MBA. And it is there at Stanford Business School that I took a class in quantitative equity. It was a class about using historical accounting information with statistical analysis to make investment decisions. And that kind of changed my life, if I may say so. I spent my entire time at university basically researching quantitative equity investment models, and eventually ended up launching hedge fund, trading US markets out of Palo Alto. Unfortunately, couldn't scale the business within short period of time I was there, and I ran into H1B issues, so I had to sell that business and come back. I moved back. I moved to Singapore. I joined ANZ. With ANZ, I basically started managing their wealth solutions business. Rather, I built that business in Asia for them from ground up. And during this time, I got deeper into the world of quantitative equity, so much so that I realized that I don't know enough math and computer science to do what I want to do. And I started my master's in data science to fill the knowledge gaps I had on the CS and the math side. And eventually, 2018, I left ANZ and started on my own, delving deeper into AI models for investment management and trading. Uh, Life obviously has its own plan. Pandemic kind of created a lot of challenges for me, and I again second time unlucky couldn't scale the business and ran into a lot of challenges. Luckily, I was able to exit that venture again. And towards the fag end of 2021, I was introduced to Nikhil Kamath by a mutual friend. Nikhil was running a hedge fund called True Beacon, and he needed help in scaling and revamping the operations over there. And he convinced me to move back to India. And that was kind of a game changer. I moved to Bangalore. I revamped their flagship fund. I rebuilt the team. I launched their wealth business. Unfortunately, they closed it after I left. And I also launched a product called uh, PMS strategy called Equity Factor Fund. Uh, in August of 2022, this was the first India's first AI-driven investment strategy. And today, quant is very acceptable. Quantitative investing is very acceptable in Indian market. It's still very nascent, but at that point in time, quant has not made its mark. There were a few quant mutual funds. Most of them have underperformed. So people were not really interested in quant. And it was an interesting time to launch the AI-driven quant strategy. So I had to do a lot of education exercise, making people understand why quant works, how it works, what are the pros, what are the cons, and why we are different from other players in the street who have not been able to make marks. And another interesting thing was explaining people AI. The good thing that happened for me was ChatGPT. Uh, ChatGPT gave the boost which I was really looking for, because now I had to explain them how I used AI, but I didn't have to explain to people that AI can be used to make decisions. ChatGPT kind of bridged that gap, the trust deficit, you can say. Now I only have to convince people that I can do the job, not necessarily whether AI is able to do the job or not. So I think that was a pivotal moment for me. Uh, in early 2023, I was thinking of starting or starting on my own or moving back to Singapore. And my now co-founder Rohit was also exiting his venture and wanted to get back to investment management. And we kind of came together, put our heads together, and decided to launch ArthAlpha. And hence, on 2nd of August 2023 is when we launched ArthAlpha. Uh, ArthAlpha, if I take 30 seconds more to tell you about it, ArthAlpha is an investment technology firm. Uh, what we are doing is we are building AI-driven quantitative investment research platform. Okay, in a nutshell, that's what we are doing. The hypothesis is uh, quant investing is the future and AI is the future. And we can talk more about both of them. And we both of us have a great background in that. Rohit has worked with some of the top global names on the quantitative investment side, and he's eager to also go into entrepreneurial route. And it was kind of a marriage made in heaven with our ideas, our very complementary skill set, and very similar value system. And that brought us together to do that. So we are building this AI-driven investment research platform. And now, how do we monetize that? Is we'll be monetizing it in a two way. One is investment management, where we are running our own fund. October of 29th last year, 2024, on Dhanteras Day, we launched our first fund management strategy called ArthAlpha MEQ, Machine Learning Equity Quant. We are in the process of launching our second fund management strategy in the long short space over the next 2 to 3 weeks. Uh, so one way we'll be monetizing this research platform is by launching our fund management product, which uses this platform for research and eventually manage risk. Second way we will be monetizing, and there we potentially will go live in, let's say, about uh, 12 to 15 months, is enterprise SaaS. We will be licensing this platform to other fund houses, wealth management shops, family offices for them to do quantitative research as well. Uh, it requires a bit more build up of the product. The way currently product is built is we understand it, so we are able to use it. But for third party users, we need to build a nice UI around it for them to be able to use it. So that UI and UX is currently under development, and we expect over next 12-month period next year or so, we'll be able to take the product live in the enterprise SaaS space as well. So that's about me, ArthAlpha, and a little bit about my co-founder as well. Happy to go deeper into whichever area you want to.
Amazing, amazing. So that was quite a interesting like journey that you shared, like how you got to work with Nikhil Kamath, how you got to also get into this new kind of space, new kind of territory, and also congrats on the raise. Like I think you recently raised some funding as well. So congrats. So talk us through like what was this concept about marriage made in heaven? Like how did you find co-founder fit? Like there's
Okay.
a ton of college students that may be listening today, and so they might be curious to know like how did you actually go about finding the co-founder fit?
Yeah, thank you very much, Roohi. First of all, for your warm wishes. Yes, we closed our 2 million round with around being led by DSP Asset Management. On the co-founder side, it's a very interesting story, Roohi. I was moving back to India from Singapore, and I wanted to hire a few more people. Nikhil has given me enough, which has given me go ahead to hire really good quality people. And I reached out to a few friends asking them for references. One of my friends referred me to Rohit. He had left Tower Research and he was planning to start on his own. And I basically reached out to him, hey, listen, I heard you have left and you are exploring new things. Do you want to come and talk to us? I'm building a great team at Trubeacon. He took about 30 seconds to say no. Uh, but the good thing was he was moving to Bangalore. So he said, "But I'm moving to Bangalore. Let's catch up." And a couple of months later, I moved to Bangalore from Singapore. He moved to Bangalore from Bombay, and we met up and we started, discussing ideas. He was not interested in taking a role, but he wanted to go entrepreneurial. But we struck a chord, right? It's like we had very similar value system and we had very similar ideas and thought processes. And there was enough which was different between us where he wanted to talk to me and I wanted to talk to him. He wanted to learn from me and I found him very interesting, exciting, where I could also learn. By the way, he's about 16 years younger to me. So there's a big gap between us. And from there on, we kind of stayed in touch. We met every couple of months, 3 months for lunch or dinner to exchange ideas. He went into a little bit into crypto. And just about the time when I was thinking what next, that, I want to go on my own, is the time when he was realizing that crypto is not the right space for him. Crypto has crashed. So our inside joke is crypto crashed because he refused to work with me. God wanted him to work with me, and that's why crypto crashed. The day he left crypto, we started Earth Alpha. Since then, crypto has been running. So crypto only crashed because he went there. So yeah, so see, it came in very, very, like, you can't predict these circumstances. You can't create these circumstances, right? So you don't know where you're gonna find your co-founder. But when I met him, there was no intention of us starting anything. I was not looking for a co-founder. It's just that he was shutting his crypto venture and he reached out to me to generally have a conversation. What should we be doing? And I was thinking about these ideas. So a right call at the right time. And next couple of months are few strategy sessions together, and here we are today.
Yeah, I love how serendipity and also kind of this ideas, how references actually helped you a lot in this journey of like starting your own new company. So
Absolutely.
talk us through now, like, are AI startups a fad or not? Like, we know AI is like the hot thing for people to invest in these days. So, and I know your platform also kind of AI driven or something AI kind of. So, is it just a buzzword, or is there like some tangible value that can be derived from AI startups or AI driven things?
Yeah, so Roohi, I think both cases are right. There's a lot of value which AI will create, which it has already created, by the way, but it will create going forward. But there is a lot more froth in the market, as you rightly put it. Is it a buzzword? I think it's a mix of both, right? There are a lot of people who are trying to capitalize on AI, and there is a lot more capital which is chasing AI startups, right? So if you can bring an AI angle to it, it's potentially easy to raise capital. But yeah, I think investors are not stupid, right? Like, uh, my thought process over there is, you may be able to raise one round of capital, but when you go to second round to investors, you will have to answer some tough questions, right? Uh, they will say, okay, what is your progress? What have you achieved so far, right? So I say, while there is enough buzz, but there is good amount of reality over there and good amount of future prospect within the AI space. I think we've just seen the tip of the iceberg, right? The way I see it is, any new technology which comes in, there are two things that happen. One, it's a buzz. It's a just a fad. It comes, it makes an impact for a short period of time and then leaves. And other set of technologies which fundamentally changes the way we function, right? If I say smartphone was one of the technologies which fundamentally changed how we function, right? Uh, Apple, when it released iPhone, probably did not even think that one device will bring about the convergence which it brought, right? Obviously, Nokia and BlackBerry kind of went extinct because of that product, and Samsung, LG, and Huawei, and all these guys became big because of the advent of smartphone, right? I think AI. I personally believe AI is in that category because I'm already seeing how people are incorporating AI into their workflows. Whether it is a PR guy, marketing team which is building a deck together, whether you are sending out a communication and you're using AI to easily draft it for you, and then this thing, whether it is even in my firm, right? We have people who are coding AI who are using AI to code AI, right? They're like, okay, telling AI, listen, this is function what I want to code. Can you write it for me? They take it, they cut, copy, paste, and then they improve upon it. What is happening is they're like using AI to do mundane tasks, right? Because AI is able to, it's a repetitive task, there is a good amount of data on which it has been trained, it's able to do it at a very fraction of speed. Now, when you combine human ingenuity with these tools, the productivity just goes through the roof. Now, don't get me wrong, there are disadvantages of it. I know there are people who are becoming slave to it, who stop thinking. That therein lies the problem. Like you can't be a dumb slave to the technology, right? So when I think of an AI, I think of a very powerful tool which is going to increase our productivity very massively. Now, you can use this tool to solve the mundane for you so that you can think about bigger issues, take on bigger challenges, or you can become slave to the tool and say, listen, tool is doing the work for me. I'll ask the question, here's the answer. I don't need to go above and beyond. And that will stall the progress of not of the community, not of the industry, not of the country, but of the people who are not using the tool in the right manner. But to answer your question, no, I don't think it's a fad. There might be people who are trying to take advantage of the buzz, but AI as such is not a fad, and it makes an impact across the industry. Investment management finance is just one of them.
I think that's a really interesting perspective. And as you said, like AI is able to kind of do the mundane tasks. So, like, that's pretty interesting to see how that will shape out in the next decade or so. So, just talk us through, like, now let's talk a bit about fundraising. So, what tips do you have for like people who are young, who are ambitious, and who want to start fundraising for their startup? Or is there any like alternatives to fundraising? Like, what do you think? Like anything that can help somebody at in the early stages to get the capital they need to like get it off the ground at least?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. Yeah. Uh, See, again, each everyone's journey is very unique, right? You can't compare two founders' journey because different stage of life, different strengths and weaknesses. So everything is different. So you can't really generalize. But I'll give you a few things about uh, one. Obviously, the more you can bootstrap, the better you will be, right? Because the less amount of dilution you will face. So the amount of bootstrapping you can do is always going to be good. And also fundraising just becomes easier as you have more and more evolved products. Even for us, for example, we launched our firm in August of 23. When we ended the year, first financial year, we were profitable for the first year. We generated a revenue of close to 4 crores in year one. And not even full year, it's August to March. We will not be profitable this year because we are spending a lot more on product, a lot more on growth, a lot more on technology, people, everything. Because we are now building. At that point in time, for us, it was about proof of the pudding is in eating. Can we build something which can show the performance? And we basically licensed our technology to a fund management house to run a investment this thing on it. And we are able to generate a revenue of almost 3.75 crores. Just me and my co-founder with no funding, with minimal expense, and just demonstrating that what tech can do. And that also helped us raise funding. Uh, Another thing, what we found at that point in time when we went to the market was one big challenge was people didn't understand AI-driven investing. Uh, and we very quickly pivoted, taking a capital from somebody who understood investing in public markets and the challenges in quantitative investing. And GSP kind of fit the role. Very early on, when we spoke to them, they understood what problems we were trying to solve. And they were like, listen, we want to come on board because we understand this thing. So you have to find the right set of investors. You shouldn't be talking to anybody and everybody because you'll be wasting your time. You have to find who is interested in what you are doing. There are VCs who will be interested in enterprise SaaS. There are VCs who are fintech champions. There are VCs who will do consumer space. Our space was investing. There are not that many VCs who understand. Half the VCs thought of us as a wealth manager, not as an investment manager, not as an investment technology company. Uh, so you have to also look for the right set of investors who understand you. And I cannot emphasize more how important it is for you to have a right co-founder. Team is what matters the most because Every startup is going to go through rough patch. Maybe once in its life, twice in its life, or even 10 times in its life. It's the team which is going to come and work that magic for it to cross that threshold and survive and then thrive. So I think choosing your team, choosing your co-founders and senior leadership is another thing which you have to be very, very careful about.
Yeah, I think these are some solid tips. I think first the point on like choosing the right investors, like the VC startup fit kind of, I guess.
Yeah.
And yeah, so let's just get into the last question. So, what are some of the greatest Indian startup stories, like bootstrapped, funded, or whatever? And what can the audience learn from them, in your opinion? Like, what do you think is like 1 to 2 companies?
Okay, I think, listen, I've come back to India after 9 years, and over last 3 years, I've been in India and I'm seeing some wonderful stuff that has been happening in India, right? Let me start by Thomas Brothers, right? Like, bootstrap company, one of the top brokers in India. They disrupted the broking space completely, right? Like, I remember the brokerages used to be somewhere between 0.25 to 0.5%. And it was hard for people to make money when you are paying so much in brokerage, right? So I think there's a great lesson to be learned from Kamath Brothers. And there is so much out there in public, so I don't want to go more into that. I think I'm really big fan of Zepto guys. Um, uh, you know, young chap, extremely young. Kirana card went south and they rebuilt it from there. And the operational efficiency they are trying to bring into their companies and the path to profitability, the focus they have today on path to profitability. I think it's just amazing. Like, this is one thing which I feel a lot of startup founders, particularly young ones, do not pay enough attention to his path to profitability. In the end, your valuation, whatever valuation you are getting, the higher the valuation, higher is the expectation of future profitability, right? So you have to be mindful of when you are going and raising capital, and you have to be doubly mindful when you are spending that capital. Um, and I don't want to name names over here, but there are a lot of examples of startups in India and globally where you can say great business model and went kaput because too much money. uh, so I think that is something as a founder, I will tell people, learn from the startup, learn from the founders who have managed that side very well. Uh, Operational excellence, you cannot replace operational excellence with anything. Focus on that. Focus on cost control. Understand where each dime is being spent, and look at the startups who have done that. Right, Zerodha is one of them. Zepto guys in today's parlance, amazing job they have done. And there are countless examples in this country, right? Like, you and me will be here a whole night if we start discussing each and every founder. But I will say, look at the leaders in the space. And sometimes leaders are not necessarily the first mover advantage, right? Think of Dunzo versus Porter, right? And those are, and I think sometimes the lessons, bigger lessons in failures than successes. So do not be more appreciative of the failures, because if you can learn something for somebody else's failure, you don't have to repeat those mistakes.
These are all some really gold advice that you shared at the end. And yeah, super honored that you came on the podcast. And yeah, so do share how the audience can get in touch, like how they can learn more about Art Alpha, your socials, etc. Like now's the stage to kind of share about that.
Yeah, I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn, or you can look at our website, arthalpha.in, or you can shoot me an email at rohit at arthalpha.in. I'm pretty responsive. Will be great to be in touch with you. And thank you
Amazing,
very
amazing.
much for having me.
Yeah,